be able to say in my twilight years that I enjoyed every minute of every hour of every day. If you can get happiness by doing something you like, and even if that is nothing more than cleaning windows, then you are very, very lucky to be doing something that you like. So in other words, all my life, I was able to do something I genuinely loved.
Raymond Kearns, the founder of the Institute of Education, was born in Ballahadreen in County Roscommon. He was the seventh of 9 children. His father was a farmer and his mother was a school teacher.
My mother always instilled in us the value of education. The days then were schooled were the standard ones, up in the morning, go to school in the dark, etc., like all the youngsters all over the country. And we had a schoolmaster called Martin Coleman. I would not be here today talking to you were it not for the dedication, the hard work that Master Coleman put in to teaching me.
Raymond was a bright student and earned a scholarship to the local boarding school, St. Nathan's College. However, he did not like boarding school and he felt it was now time to make some decisions.
So I then decided, right, boarding in a college is not for you. I want freedom. And I took my freedom at 16 onto the railway.
Ray started working on the railways in Boyle, County Roscommon, and eventually ended up in the North Wall CIE depot in Dublin. Soon, though, Ray realised that his job in CIE offered very little in terms of future prospects, and he decided to study in his spare time and try to get into University College Dublin.
I wanted what everybody had at the time, the leaving cert or the matriculation. I wanted to get to university. I wanted to get to better my lot. I was prepared to do anything to succeed.
He always saw education as the key to freedom. I would say that his mother being the national school teacher, also he speaks of that maths teacher, Mr. Coleman. I think it was ingrained into him, it was in his DNA. He was always going to be going down that route.
Ray earned his place in UCD and attained a BA degree. By this time, Ray was starting to show his entrepreneurial character and ran for president of the Student Representative Council, which he won in a landslide victory. The space race had just begun. The Americans, who had fallen behind the Russians, were investing in maths and science education. As a result of this, Raymond won a scholarship to the University of Pittsburgh, the Cathedral of Learning, to study the so-called new mathematics. When he returned to Ireland in 1961, Raymond discovered his knowledge of the new mathematics was in great demand, and he obtained the post of Senior Mathematics Master in Gonzaga College. During his time in Gonzaga, he gave private tuition to students. He saw the potential to develop this, and the idea of the Institute of Education was born.
There were probably a couple of reasons why maybe Dad decided when he was in Gonzaga to move on or to expand further with the Institute. He was a very well-regarded teacher and as a result would have been in demand to give extra classes.
This grew from the initial start of 10 students in 1969, and that has grown ever since, based on my old philosophy that I never stopped talking about, Ralph Emerson. If you write a better book, preach a better sermon, or make a better mousetrap, though you build your house in the woods, the world will beat a path to your doorstep. Now, not everybody follows that, but I'm a great believer in that. So the guiding light was always never to deviate, get the very best teachers, pay them the very best money, to give the very best tuition.
He had a vision because in Dublin at that time, you're talking about the late 60s, It was new for somebody to realise that there were thousands of students who felt an inadequacy in what they were hearing every day. And here was somebody who set up a business, who said, fine, I can fill in some of the gaps. And he started filling in the gaps, and the more he filled in the gaps, the more demand there was for it. So, I mean, he had a fantastic vision.
And people vote with their feet. And they got the word back from their students that they learned more on occasion, some of them say, in an hour than they had learned previously in a week or 2 weeks. It was a win-win situation for me.
One thing he had that distinguished him from everybody else I knew in teaching, he listened to students. He got to know them by their first names. He was the first guy I met who was a real people person, but his people were the students.
Now, the problem then that I had was location. So I was lucky, and I've quoted the word been lucky in life. Buildings became available across the road, and I was able to borrow money and build.
When he moved across the road then to the newer building, 84, 85, and he started his day courses, that's when obviously it really started taking off. And you saw the thousands of people coming at Christmas and Easter, and I suppose at that stage it hit home all right how successful an operation the Institute was.
Ray Kearns didn't make the Institute of Education what it is. The Institute of Education is today what the great teachers made it. I was only just a cog in a wheel. Don't thank me, but thank me except for one thing and one thing only, getting the best to give the best. No more, no less.
Not only did he get the best teachers, he held on to the best teachers because he was full of praise. Every time he met you on the corridor, he would say, David, and how is the best biology teacher in the country? Now, I know he probably said that to 3 or 4 biology teachers as well, but that wasn't the point. It still had a great effect on the morale of the teachers to be constantly praised rather than criticised.
The first thing he ever said to me was this. He said, remember, Dennis, a boring teacher is a bad teacher. He was a visionary and revolutionary. He never referred to a class as a class. If you were walking down the corridor going into your English or mathematics class, he'd say, are you getting ready for the show?
He was always kind of into the showman side of it and put on a bit of a show and entertain the students as much as possible. That ethos has almost maintained itself in the Institute, that the teachers are willing to go the extra mile by their enthusiasm, by their engagement with the class, and by just their general level of professionalism. And I think that has to be a legacy of what Ray set up in the first case.
He's very passionate about education and feels that that is the way forward, and likes to give all students that are interested the best chance they can.
He's got a very warm personality himself, and students immediately, they can pick this up. And I think students have always been very, very honest with him. And that I think is how the whole student-focused thing, more or less, would have actually started. Now, that is the core philosophy of the Institute, and that continues on today.
The sense of satisfaction that you could see young people benefiting from what you were putting in front of them, and that you were never, as I said, taking money into false pretenses, and that you are putting them on the ladder to success.
He never stops working. You know, the Institute is his passion, always will be. You know, people often say, so is your dad retired now, you know? And no, he'll always have a fire in his belly for the Institute. It's his little baby.
I have 3 members of the family in there now. Andrew, who specialises in the overseas, Peter then with the main thing, and Una then is the HR. And occasionally I have said to them, I'm handing on the baton to you now. If you let it fall, I'm taking it up and you're not getting it back.
I think the values that Dad kind of espouses, hard work, determination, quality, honesty, all of those, you know, hopefully we're still doing and following.
He's instilled the ethos of the Institute into us, and to carry on that ethos, which is essentially to provide excellence in education, excellent tuition, so that the student can maximise their potential and be the best that they can be.
No doubt about it, his ethos still is part of the staff room where teachers meet every day and discuss their classes. And he really is the cornerstone of all of the way they think and how the Institute should go.
When anyone goes in to teach, you're trying to free the person on the other side to realise all the potential within them. I think that's been Ray's motivation all his life.
And he always talks in the staff room, whenever you meet him, it's always about opportunity, opportunity, and giving people opportunity. And I think he's almost messianic in that desire he has to give opportunity.
I think we've produced some very, very fine students that have gone on to do excellent work in many careers, in the medical area, in the engineering area, in the science area, in the business area.
He's got this huge legacy. There's so many people that meet him and thank the help of the Institute for having got them into college and got them on to their career or their path.
I'm very proud to be able to say that the Edge of Education now, from a humble origin of 10 students, is sending more students to Irish and UK universities than any other school in the country.
The beliefs of its founder have been instilled into the Institute of Education. These core principles are carried throughout the halls of the school and passed down to the students. The tenets of wisdom of its founder are part of the fabric and soul of the Institute to this day.